Cast now. So, welcome to our test movement feedback session. I appreciate everyone who's inside the session who will be getting feedback and giving feedback, as well as those on the YouTube end who will be viewing our video. We're using a new technology from a company called Zoom today in our ever going quest to come up with the ideal live broadcast technology. It's a combination of Zoom's technology streaming directly to YouTube. So right now I'm going to bring Dr. Carl Wolf on camera, and he's not there. He disappeared.
I tried to keep some more light on here.
There he is.
I can see a lot of.
It looks what we're broadcasting looks great, Carl.
Great. So again, welcome everyone. Excuse me. Thank you for helping us test the technology. Brent and I are trying to improve this experience for everyone, and we're going through several different products this week. Hopefully we'll be able to lock one down soon. So one of the things I'd like to do is also thank the facilitators. We have several people with us that have worked with me before. Jamie's joining us tonight. She hasn't been here before. Vitaly's here. Brent is here, of course. And we'll be doing diagnostics for several people. And one of the important things is we do the diagnostics. I want you all to watch what happens for the individuals, because as we address the mythologies that these people are working with, that they're dealing with, and they begin to collapse the mythologies down, it can happen very quickly. Primarily because I'm holding an energy in the quantum field that oftentimes helps facilitate the movement. But as you penetrate a behavior, the stories that are associated with the behaviors keep the emotions pushed down. And
I'm not connected.
Oops, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to mute whoever that is.
I'm sorry, who was that? Danny?
I have somebody. Go ahead, please.
I'm going to keep going.
Yes.
At any rate, the stories keep the emotions pushed down. And as long as they're pushed down and in denial, you're just not going to move forward at a very high rate of speed. So, and I guess that monitor is not going to work. I'm going to turn that off.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Hit strain. So, Danny, are you there?
I am. And suddenly a very loud sound just came upon us.
I don't know where Danny has gotten to.
Lori, I'm going to have to ask you to keep your microphone muted.
Are you there, Danny?
Where
did he? Oh, there he is. Danny, I can't hear you.
Hi,
Danny.
Carl. I'm trying to solve the audio problem. I am here. So why don't we start with Mary?
We're all trying to solve problems here. Now I've got everybody on screen so I can see what's going on. At any rate, I was saying that as you move through these mythologies, the emotions are going to start coming up. And you're going to see as the masks drop away, you'll see a whole series of emotional content begin to play through each individual. It's important that you understand that in order to integrate and to feel whole, you have to feel all of the energies that you've been in denial of for a whole lifetime. So when you start feeling everything, you're going to feel things that you judge as negative or unuseful. And the bottom line is you're going to feel, and you're going to feel things that you don't want to feel, and that's what's going to empower you, and that's what's going to set you free. And you'll start moving the more you can feel these energies. So you'll notice people soften, you'll notice beauty come through, you'll notice sadness, you'll notice a whole range of emotion. When that's happening, you know that's part of the process, and that's where all of the benefit lies. The more equipped you are to deal with all emotion, not just positive or not just negative, the more quickly you will move forward. Those who are very conscious and aware are not at the effect of their emotions. They pass through just like that. They'll just zip right through. Someone who is not in relationship with their emotion will start suffering, and you'll see them dramatize the emotion. They'll start crying, they'll cry in huge cycles, or whatever emotion they get stuck in that they're not feeling. In fact, often I've had people say, well, I don't want to cry. I cry all the time. Well, they're not really crying, because if they felt the emotion behind the tears, they wouldn't cry. They'd feel it instantly, and a moment later they'd feel something else. So when you hear someone say that, you know they're dramatizing the emotion and they're not really feeling it. Should we move ahead, Danny? Are you there?
Yes, I am. Let's go.
Let's go with Mary first.
All right, Mary, I'm going to unmute you.
Right? Do you want me to stand up?
Yes, please.
Okay. Let me adjust the
And
camera.
then you're going to have to move back a bit. Does anyone have anything they want to say before we move forward? Any of the facilitators? Or anyone else? Because, I'm saying move ahead to Mary here, but Jamie, you haven't had a chance to speak before. Mary, hang on for a sec.
Sure.
You want to say anything about this work and how it's benefited you? Or
Sure. I did Carl's intensive and Carl's groups, many of his workshops. I don't know, 3 years ago. I started doing the work when I was about 22, I think, and I'm 28. So it's been a really great tool for me in growing my business and just feeling better and clearer in my mind in general, and accepting myself for who I am. And yeah, it's been really wonderful. I'm really happy to be back and doing some more work with Carl and groups of people. And I found that this is the most effective thing that I do with my own clients. So when you can start feeling what's going on behind the story is when things really start to change, and it works very quickly. So I'm happy to be a part of it.
great, thank you, Jamie. Vitaly or Brent, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I would love to share something with the group. So something happened. I went on a trip to Sequoia National Park with my girlfriend and another couple, and the guy of the other couple, he had some issues, some issues that triggered my fear, and it was really wonderful to be able to feel that fear and move through and notice the judgment that I had about him and release the judgment, and then not being at the effect of it, and basically letting go of that, and then still being able to be in relationship, still be okay with him doing whatever he needs to do.
It's a challenge sometimes, isn't it, when you're around people and they're acting out and acting out and acting out and acting out, and they want to manipulate you into their drama and make you part of it. That's really challenging, isn't it, to maintain your grounding and your center when that's going on.
Especially when you're stuck with them for 2 days and on the trip.
Try being stuck with them for 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Kelly.
Yeah.
Brent, I'll go to Brent. Brent, do you want to say anything at all? You don't have to.
I think they probably heard more than enough from me already, but
Okay.
I've worked with many, many different healers and gurus and masters, and Carl is absolutely the real deal. So I think it's a great privilege for all of us to have a chance to do this work. And there's a lot of feel-good fluff and a lot of nonsense in this industry. And Carl's work is one of the few that actually cuts through the nonsense and gives results. So,
well, thank you. I appreciate that. You know me, I started doing this work almost 40 years ago, and I ran into so many people that were just fluff, and it was kind of irritating. Not irritating, it was kind of sad actually, because you really had high hopes that everybody you interfaced with actually had something of value to communicate or to share. And then I found out that almost everybody I ran into in the New Age movement was running tape, that they were just mimicking something they'd read or heard from someone else. But people who are real are so few and far between. When you find them, that makes all the difference in the world. So for me, that's what I've always been striving to do, is have as much integrity as I can and bring as much honesty to the process as I can. And the way you do that is you just tell the truth about what's going on in your life, right? Because it's the truth that heals self and others. And now let's go to Mary.
Right.
Danny's a little preoccupied there, but
Yeah.
we'll eventually switch us over to Mary, I know.
Here we go, Mary.
you'll have to stand back just a little, take a foot back, then pull the top of your computer down so you don't have as much headroom. Excuse me.
How's that?
I'm going to mute my mic here while I clear my throat so I don't. Okay, Mary. Let's have you do that shaking thing.
It started from like get it off me, and then right now it's a little frazzled, and she looks a little scared.
I'd just like everybody to notice the mouth and how the mouth started pursing. She held her breath, she breathed in, she wasn't breathing, and a high anxiety took over. And as I'm speaking to her now, you can see this anxiety running in the background. So that there's a hyper awareness of the environment around her, and she's reacting to her perception that people are watching her. And there's somebody's constantly has an eye on her and wants her to do it right. And so she's moving as fast as she can to try and keep ahead of this, whoever these people are that are coming after her, that are constantly evaluating her performance. Does any of this sound like anything you've heard before or you're aware of, Mary?
Yeah, it's right on.
Yeah, it looks like to me she's performing at gunpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt the anxiety when I started.
Pardon?
I felt anxiety when I started.
Let me tell you, I had a client once that had a behavior like this, but it was amped up about 10 times more than this.
Mhm.
She was a child. Her father tried to train her how to not be frightened, and he used to take a rattlesnake and stick the head of the rattlesnake in her mouth. And she had the same hyper terrified energy, fear of the environment. So it's like, I get that you've never felt safe in any environment from a very early age.
That's right.
Yeah. Almost like you couldn't sleep at night because you were afraid somebody was going to come into your room.
I don't know how you know that, but that's amazing.
Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you still have this self-preservation going on, and it's very, excuse me. The thing to know is you did a good job. You really took care of yourself. It really worked, but you never really got to feel all the things a child should feel. Number one, a child should feel safe, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. A child shouldn't have to experience fear. A child should experience unconditional love. You were very loving and generous with yourself, and you're a very generous person, you can tell. But you're still operating in the past, and you still think somebody's going to come in and get you. And that's normal, and this stuff's it's ingrained in your brain. So what I'd like you to do is I want you to pat your body, all along the sides of your body. Pat it really hard until you can feel your body, because you've been out of your body for so long. Pat your legs, pat all the way down to your ankles. Yeah, and pat inside your legs and on the outside and the knees and behind. Pat your butt. Pat behind yourself as much as you can, just to get a sense of your body, and that if you can get more into this feeling space, all the data that you need to take care of yourself is in your body. It's not in your head. And you know how perceptive you are. You're very
I'm stuck in my head. Brent knows that.
yeah, I know. But you're very intuitive and perceptive, but you haven't been using because you've been in this survival strategy for so long. You on a sexual level. You understand that, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So the problem is it's hard for you to experience your beauty and your innocence when you think if you allow yourself to experience it, it's going to attract somebody to you who's going to violate you in some way.
Mhm.
So that's why it's tough for you in relationship right now, because you're not fully available at the deepest level because that behavior is still running, and it's hard for you to experience intimacy in any relationship because you're still disassociated from that sense of self. Again, when I feel you and I look at you, there's just a real great sense of beauty and graciousness about you that you're going to tap into, and it'll start to come in. The other thing I notice is that you really listen. You're hearing everything that I say, which tells me, it's insight into the fact that you actually can hear your own intuitive voice. It's just you don't take action on it. You let the rational supersede your intuition. Now, shake your hands, and I want to just see that particular relationship. Yeah, they're working completely independently. But you can see, Brent, you can see that the intuitive is way more functional in a sense, but you don't listen to it. And the rational is shouting it down. Wet your fingertips in your mouth, and then just shake them in the air until you can feel the sensation of the coolness. Yeah, and get them in relationship. Yeah. Get both of them moving together. Feel it together. Yeah. Find a way to get them, touch your fingertips together. Feel the relationship. Slowly pull them apart and feel this magnetic field like honey. Yes. And then move them so they're in relationship. Yes, go there. You better. You're still off yourself. You're not inside yourself, but it's the beginning of the realization that you actually can make this connection yourself, right, on a physical level.
It's like she's coming in and overshooting, and then coming back and overshooting.
Yes.
So there's like a flickering of presence, which is interesting.
Put your hand on both hands on your heart for a moment.
Okay, like that.
Yeah. And just feel that, and I want you to feel that tonight when you go to sleep, and know that you can deal with anything. You've done it well. You're an adult now. You don't have to relate to the world from a child's perspective. And you've been taking this child to work with you for years. It's not appropriate for you to be taking that child to work, because she doesn't feel safe anyplace. Once you experience your relationship with her, the adult will go to work instead of the child going to work. The adult, the child goes out into the world still, and you're protecting her all the time. Okay? And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because because you're doing this, running this mask, it's going to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. People will treat you in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable, because you, on a certain level, your ego is lying to you, and we kind of want to out ourselves with the behavior, if that makes any sense. Because we really know, we understand there's a dissonance, but we don't know how to heal it. But our body always tells the truth. It's telling us how to do it.
After you put your hands on your heart, you got much more in relationship with your pain, and now you're showing up with much more presence.
Yes. And what are you feeling?
I felt tearful, and then it passed, and then I felt relaxed. But I felt anxiety at first, then tearfulness, and then.
Okay, now you're going to look back. You're going to look back at this video, and I want you to notice that when I asked you what you were feeling, you immediately went into your head.
Oh.
Tell me what you were feeling. So you're running tape on your feeling. At the same time, you knew exactly what you were feeling, but you didn't report it accurately. You reported it through a rational filter. Okay. We want direct reporting from your intuitive self, from your functional self, from your body. Okay. So what are you feeling?
I'm anxious.
And again, you went right into your head and anxious at the story. That's not true. That's not what you're feeling.
Oops, that was me.
The feelings are down inside of you. They're not up in your head. And you may not know what you're feeling. You may not have direct, even though you're having feelings, you may not have a direct way to communicate them yet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know what to say.
I know, I understand.
Yeah.
That will change. And what are you feeling? You're in the right place. You're in the right place.
Okay.
You went
Yeah.
into bed.
Yeah, I did, didn't I?
Go
It was
back
all
to the
right.
right place. Go back
Yeah.
inside and just find one little thing that's true there and tell me what it is. It might be I don't know.
Oh, it was a little confusion just now.
That's fine. Confusion's fine.
Yes.
Go back into the feeling and tell me what you're feeling. Yes.
I feel warm inside.
That's good. That's a good start.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah,
warm.
I'm
My
beaming
face.
you with I'm beaming you with a lot of energy. Normally when I do that, and I'm going to turn it up a little so you can feel it, and I know everybody watching, if they're aware intuitively, they're going to feel this.
I feel very warm.
You feel that? Yeah, that's the healing energy. Yeah, you know, it's just like acupuncture without the needles. Without that connection to the energy, it's tougher to make the shift. Okay? So there's a lot of healing going on for you.
I can feel it.
Great, great. It's a great start. Thank you so much for being willing to be vulnerable and share yourself with us. It's very helpful to other people. You'll be surprised at the comments you get of how much you've helped other people.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah.
Just a couple of words. I saw you had this fear coming over you, and it was coming out of your body, and then you stopped it and you pushed it down.
Oh.
And it looked, and it seems like that's what you're doing with fear. You never really feel in it and experience in it. You're just pushing it. You stop in it.
So the way to resolve that is to let it come up and,
Yeah.
and feel
Natalie,
it.
I think a lot of it is she has the emotions, but because she hasn't ever really let herself feel them, she
Mhm.
can't identify them. They're sort of all stuck together.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think you could say it's fear, but it's actually the fear of not knowing what the emotion is, I think is what you're seeing. If that helps, Vitaly.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, and thank
Oh.
you.
What I saw was she's gotten very good at taking cues from people about learning what she thinks they want to hear.
Yes.
And she was a little lost not having that because you
Yeah.
weren't
Yeah.
feeding it to her. There was nothing we wanted you to feel or do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and I won't let you manipulate me. You know, that's the other thing. You're very good at seducing and manipulating people to keep yourself safe in that little cocoon.
And I think that's where the confusion came from.
When you said that you were feeling anxiety, you went from a place of feeling something completely different than anxiety to actually making yourself feel anxiety by giving yourself the mental suggestion. So that was just an interesting thing to observe, that we can actually make ourselves start feeling something based on saying we're feeling that way.
Yes, that's a great point, Jamie. Yeah. That's why the stories that we tell ourselves, it's like you said, oh, I'm feeling anxiety. Well, I knew it was a story and I knew you were just conjuring it up. So, okay.
Thank you, Carl.
Say again.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. It's great to have you. And let's go down the line to say your name for everyone so I don't mispronounce it. We need
Me?
to turn. Yes, you.
Vejenti.
Wejenti. I'll
Yeah.
eventually get it. I have to remember to not pronounce the V. Wejenti.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's put Wejenti on the screen so we can see her, Danny. Thank you. Yeah. Do you have anything you want to say before we start?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's have you step away from your computer, the same as we did Mary, so that we can see you.
Yeah.
Okay. And I hope your cord's long enough.
Yeah,
Can you
yeah.
step back any further?
No, I can't.
Okay. Can you push the computer away from you, or is that it?
Is that okay?
That's it. Okay. So whenever you're ready, you may start shaking your hands.
Just a second.
Okay.
Shall I start now?
Yes, please.
It feels like you're making things harder for yourself because they're naturally very easy. And so you have to sort of add a weight to yourself in order to feel like you can fit in with the rest of the people.
Makes sense.
Yeah. There's a certain hopelessness to this too. I mean, you're doing a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot of extra work that's not necessary from muscle, as opposed to from feeling. So it's like you're building mountains and then you're shoveling them out of the way, and then you get to say, "Oh wow, aren't I amazing that I was able to overcome that obstacle?"
Yeah, it's like a slave kind of energy where I see you like rowing a ship, being tied up and having to exert all this effort, but it's almost hopeless. But you somehow take comfort in your strength.
She does. Yeah. And this is the energy of Sisyphus, of rolling a rock up a hill every day and having it roll back down again and having to roll it back up again.
Can I say something here?
Yes, please.
I have recognized that suffering is not required, struggle is not required, and I sense that there is. I know how to be that, but still I cannot be that. I'm
I'm
wondering.
going to stop you for a second.
Yeah.
And I want you to write this little story down right now on a piece of paper, because it's a great story. It's a hypnotic suggestion.
Okay.
And what did you just say?
I know suffering and struggle is not required. A part of me knows how to be that, but I still don't know how to be that.
Okay, write that down. Okay, let's stay with her while she's writing that down. Let's pop back over there, Danny. There you go. So you tell me why I'm having you write this down.
To have it in my conscious mind, to have.
Yes,
clarity.
you
We are
can't
looking
tell
at
this.
it.
You can't lie to yourself like this anymore, okay?
Okay.
This is a lie that you're telling yourself. Every word you speak is a hypnotic suggestion. Do you understand that?
Yeah, that I understand.
Yeah, so once you say that, it becomes true. And it's not true.
Oh, okay, so actually, okay, yes. I got it.
It sounded like a wonderful teaching that the mind admired and found beauty in, but it was just a reiteration of something you heard.
Yes.
Yeah. But
And it
see,
keeps- Go ahead.
I have been going through a lot of physical problems health-wise. Chronic asthma, TB, weak lungs. It's like now recently I've been doing. So before it was a lot of healing work and occult sciences, but it's now truly where I started getting it that it's all about me and my body and the way I relate to myself and my life. I have been doing so. I am somewhere the lungs have started improving, but I keep going back. And I
I'm
think
going to
this is-
stop you again.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to have to stop all of the story. There's nothing real about it. Okay.
Okay, I got it.
You're just conning yourself.
Okay, got that.
There's
I
no-
got that.
There's nothing wrong with you.
Okay.
You're making all this stuff up just to get attention.
I got it.
And you're very capable. And you're very capable of conning the people around you. Do you understand that? Stop it. You're a beautiful woman. You're intelligent. You have everything you need. You're embarrassed because life is so easy for you. It's none of your business how easy your life is or how hard anybody else's is. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Stop that.
So can I just ask you a question here?
Probably not. Do you know why? You already know the answer. That's part of the game. Does anybody else have any feedback? Because I don't think we should continue engaging with you for a while. You just need to sit with us. It's a lot of awareness to just stop everything. There's not a thing wrong with you. And nobody has said this to you in a very long time, if ever. Okay? Yeah. And you will very quickly make these shifts. Okay. Any feedback, anyone else? I guess not. Thank you so much. And we're going to move on to the next person.
Thank you, Carl, and thank you.
You're welcome. We'll chat soon.
Yeah, thank you.
So I think it's great for everybody to see what happens when you have so many layers of story that you use to define yourself. And it's a psychological looping. As soon as you think you have a problem, the act of looking for a solution to the problem creates the problem. And there's not wrong. You know, her life's just too easy. Many of us have this going on in the East, in our culture, in the West rather. Our lives are so easy that we just come up with a lot of stories to complicate things. And then who are we going to go to next, Danny?
How about we go to Heather?
Let's do that.
All right, Heather, you're first, and then I'm going to spotlight you.
Hello there.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. I think I've been processing a lot lately.
You want to say a little bit about the skating diagnostic that we did?
Oh,
You were the first on the air skating diagnostic, which was a lot of fun.
it was huge. Gosh, I don't even know what to say. Just the act of feeling how to get my focus off the ground and out and high has shifted every moment of my life. I am very aware of walking and how my body is in the world, and I feel a lot more right now.
Isn't that
So
great?
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So do you want to do some shaking for us and see,
I do.
see what it looks like these days?
Is this, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
I'm
good?
going to step back a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. And then pull that computer down a little bit. Great.
Okay.
Yep. There's a new mythology kicking in for you. And I think what's happening, and this oftentimes happens, things get easier, and our ego tries to package it and use it as a survival strategy. So I'm seeing you take in the ease that you've experienced and the expansion, and your ego's starting to run tape on it a little bit. It's trying to do the feeling now, and the
Yeah.
expansion, as opposed to you being in it. So slow down and breathe all the way down to your toes. Wiggle your toes. Wiggle your toes. There you go. And you're letting go of all the heavy lifting. Do you feel that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So do you see what happened? Then you
Oh
started to make it really hard work.
yeah.
And we do that because we think we're going to accelerate the process, and it actually slows the whole thing down. Let's take that energy. I don't know. Put my arms up for a second so she can see me, Danny. So I want you to take that energy inside of yourself. It's almost as if your heart is flying and you have wings, and you can see my heart's actually pulsating here,
Okay.
and the wings are moving off the heart. You see that? So get the feeling of taking that energy through you. You're embracing your heart. You're taking energy all the way through you, behind you, into the past, and out into the future. And it's a complete cycle. It's an infinite loop of energy. And it's about breath, and the hands moving off the breath, and the heart feeling love and openness and safety. And you can move back to Heather, Danny. Okay, you're overworking it now. You know?
Okay.
Yeah, you're doing it in muscle as opposed to feeling. Now go back to me, Danny, for a second. I'll show you what it looks like, what you're doing, so you can get a distinction.
Mhm.
You're doing it in muscle on the
Okay.
surface, you see,
Okay.
and you're working really hard, really hard, and it's all on the surface, and you're throwing it away. It has to go inside from core, from your second chakra, okay? Much better. Be gentle with yourself. Be loving. Be nurturing. It's a little baby heart in there. Yes. Go all the way through. So great. What are you experiencing as you go through these range of movements?
I can feel it just feels like this energy is going like this around my heart.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you see, you take the information very easily and translate it into a result, which is great to see. And sometimes we'll exaggerate it. Our ego will get a hold of it and try to do it as opposed to feeling. So it's just about, remember, wiggle your toes, breathe, start in feeling. And if you can't feel, don't move. Right? You want to have integrity, so you always want to move from feeling. Okay.
Okay.
Any feedback, folks, for Heather?
The performer is still there, but you're less attached to the judgment that's coming in. You're starting to enjoy it a little bit, but there's also periods of blindness that show up when you were doing the research where you were. So it's understandable that you felt a little blind. Not being led around.
That's a key point, Brent, and I saw that too. You're looking out and up, out and forward, but you go blind at the same time that you're looking out. You go completely inside and you lose your connection to the outer space.
Interesting.
Eyes actually physically look out, but they don't see anything out there. They go inside instead of out.
No, I am aware of that. I say that.
Yeah, you'll see it in the video.
Okay.
Once you see it, it'll start to move the other way, just as it did when you were doing the skating diagnostic.
Yeah.
Okay. And keep in mind, that's an old pattern, so it just showed up again.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Jamie, Kelly, anything?
Yeah, when you move your hands, it would the energy stops at the back. The next time you do it, maybe move it through your back into the past. So.
I would also say be aware and see if you can give yourself permission to be ugly.
Thank you.
That's a good point too, Jamie. It really is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I felt that.
Okay, Heather. Anything else? Any comments or?
No, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's always a pleasure seeing you. Thank you. Thanks for taking that time.
Oh, sure.
And who are we going to go to next, Danny? Okay, I'm just wondering how we're doing on time. We're already an hour and 15 minutes, or we're 45 minutes in, I guess. And how are you tonight? So how have you been dealing with the feedback that we gave you last time? How's that been going?
It's difficult to say. First of all, for tonight, I think I'm most related to the first, number one, Mary, kind of in her head.
Could you speak up a little bit?
It's hard hearing you. Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I was just going to say, I think I related most with Mary, who is mostly in her head. I think I am too. And I think there are some changes, but I can't put my finger on it from the last movement session. And last time I did it, some of you, I guess, didn't see it, but apparently I was moving very girly, small little child or something like that. And yeah, I sense something's different, but I don't want it. So I don't know if that's much of an answer or not.
That's fine. Let's have you step back and do some moving for us. So step back, pull the computer down a bit.
Yeah.
Pull that down a little bit more. Yeah. That should do it.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to stop you for a second. So what happened just as you were starting?
took a deep breath.
You took a deep breath, but it was also you were getting ready to step out on the stage and do your shtick, and you vanished, and you threw this guy out on the stage all by himself. Were you aware of that?
No.
You sacrificed him to the audience.
Okay.
You threw him into the lion's den, and you abdicated the throne.
Okay.
You said, "I don't have any. I'm not going to take any responsibility for this guy. He's on his own." And it's like you just got in your spaceship and, zoomed away from the planet a couple thousand miles. Went right on the back of your head.
Huh.
Yeah. Huh.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that.
Just notice the anxiety in your breath, how you're conjuring up this anxiety. It doesn't exist. You're making this stuff up. And you use that to motivate yourself. Do you understand that? You basically put yourself in danger, and you use the adrenaline to motivate yourself.
Huh.
And you put yourself at danger by shutting all your feeling down and just throwing yourself out on the stage.
Okay.
You're beating yourself up right now.
Yeah, this is what you do. Do you understand that? Yeah.
It's like you made a mistake in your mind and you're beating yourself up for that.
Good point. It's not a mistake. It's a genetic pattern that's running you.
Yeah.
And Dan, we want you to be able to see that so you can stop it, because what it does is it demands attack. It demands that people are going to minimize you and take advantage of you. And you're basically, throwing this guy to the wolves.
Let me ask you this, Dan. Who was it that made a mistake?
The awakened me says, not me.
Well, it was
Exactly.
nobody, wasn't it?
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just something that happened. It actually had nothing to do with you, huh?
Right.
That just makes it a little easier, at least for me, to take in the feedback.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're just a robot running code,
Yeah.
take
But
person.
notice the person who's behind the curtain, the wizard, he's not taking responsibility for this guy. He doesn't want to have anybody to know that he's the one who's pulling the strings, and he's not going to take responsibility for this. And it sucks, because it puts you at great risk, and it again, you're a victim, but you don't have to take accountability for it. It's an amazing game that you're playing with yourself.
It seems like you're really attached to hearing good job or that you did something right. And so you are always listening for that instead of listening for all the feedback that comes in.
Yeah, it's like you're playing the piano and you hit the wrong note, and you don't want to admit that you hit the wrong note, and you won't listen to the feedback from the piano that you hit the wrong note. You're not willing to make a mistake, so you can't learn anything new. The only way you can learn anything new is to make as many mistakes as you can. I remember seeing a 9-year-old, the son of one of my clients about 10 years ago. I'd worked with her for about 10 years. And, she raised him during that period of time. And it was a New Year's Eve, and he sat down at the piano and he started playing the most amazing classical music. And he made several mistakes during the course of the experience, but he never stopped for a moment. He didn't say, "Oh, I made a mistake." He didn't stop to correct it. He didn't apologize. He just kept going. And that's why he was so brilliant. And about that same time, there was an international piano competition, and everybody played perfectly except the guy who won the competition. Everybody else was a robot, and he was real, and that's why he won, and he actually made a mistake. So what are you hearing?
I'm thinking back to my childhood, and
I'm going to stop you for a second. And the reason I'm stopping you is that you're running extreme passive aggression right now, where you want us to beat the crap out of you. And it's extremely manipulative. And it's very uncomfortable to be around. It's like anything we say to you, you're going to beat yourself up with it. So it's almost impossible for us to give you any feedback. So it's a very sadistic, sadomasochistic behavior. And it's not very nice to be around, because it puts me in a position where I'm responsible for your suffering, and I'm not. You hear me?
Yeah.
And you're using all of us to make yourself suffer. And it's a game you're playing with yourself. You know, it's a new age game that people play all the time. And there's a reason why new age rhymes with sewage. You know, it's just crap. You're conning people. You're wasting your own time, and you're wasting the time of a lot of people around you. You know, your family. You're not present for your kids, for your family. You're just running this crap all the time, and it sucks. It looks awful. You know, and I'm just telling you the truth. I don't mean to hurt you, but you know, how much longer do you want to continue to do this? You know, you can stop it right now, but it means just you just stop the puppet master. You stop the robot. Yeah, just stop. Okay.
Okay. Sure.
What are you hearing?
What am I hearing? Like, first of all, I don't quite understand this all. Like, I'm going to replay this.
Well, I would
want
to have you stop. I don't understand is a game you're playing with yourself. You know everything I'm saying at the deepest level, and that's just a con that you're running. I don't understand. It's bullshit. Okay?
Well, I'll offer one thing that has helped me in the past, taking in feedback when I got judgmental or didn't think I was or was totally confused, was just listen to the sounds of the voices rather than trying to figure out the meaning of the words. It's a little shortcut to presence.
That's good. It's a good point, Brent.
That may make it easier for you when your head is kind of locked up like it is right now, not sure what to do or what to make of it.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's
you
okay.
understand I'm pushing up against your worst case behavior. Do you understand that, Dan?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I'm kind of shoving your face in it.
Yeah.
And it's really heightening your sense of wanting to hold on to it, because it's more important to you than food and money. Do you understand that?
Wow. If I say I don't understand it, I'm running a program or a pattern.
Well, hey, you're running a program no matter what, so
Right.
just let that go.
Okay.
There's no you running a program, huh?
Yeah.
That helps me at least.
Yeah.
It's just happening. And if the words are confusing, just listen to the sounds.
Right.
All the transformation you need is in the sound of Carl's voice. It's not locked up in the words. No,
Not
there's
words at all. It's the energy beneath them.
Yeah.
I'm offering you exactly what you need, and you're receiving it. But your rational mind is saying it isn't valuable because I've never seen it before, or I don't know how to evaluate it, or I don't know how to codify it.
confusion is inevitable with growth. So the confusion we're seeing right now is good.
What if everything you know is wrong, Dan?
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm starting to feel that I don't.
I'm going to stop you again. I want to look at this video and notice that every time you're given feedback, you run a tape. You hear it, you take it in, and then rather than own the fact that you've taken it in, you pull a tape off the shelf and run that instead. And then you don't have to take responsibility for the fact there's nothing wrong with you. Not a thing. You're just good at running tape. All you have to do is stop, pull the tape out of the machine, don't put another one in. Maybe you won't know what to do for a few days, but your life will be very different. Yeah, maybe you get confused for a week. Then that week, you're going to have a whole new life.
So again, just listen to the sounds. That's all you need. All the healing right there.
It went in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And be careful not to rescue him, Brent.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me pick on you.
Yeah.
You did ask.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I did ask.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We-
I
we-
see
we've all-
some movement. It's great to see. Yeah.
The thank you was genuine. That was from the heart. That was the
Yeah, it
realest
was.
thing you did. That was.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that generosity with yourself and others that you don't often allow yourself to experience. I guess you don't think you're generous, and you are, but generosity requires listening. It requires receiving.
Right.
Okay. Anyone else want to give a little feedback here, or are we good to go?
All feedback is love.
You're kidding.
No, it's important to remember. Even though sometimes it doesn't feel like it, but it is.
Thank you so much for allowing us to watch your process. It's so valuable to other people, Dan. Again, you will be surprised at how many people you've helped tonight. Okay, it takes a lot of gumption to put yourself on the line like this. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And who's next, Danny?
Lori Baker right now.
Okay.
Give me a second.
Night, Dan.
Okay. I'll unmute you.
Good. Hi.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm nervous.
Are you? What are you getting from our feedback session tonight?
I'm thinking that I'm really a whack job.
Are you?
Yeah.
Good one.
I'm 57. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Of course.
I'm 57 and I don't feel my feelings. My friend and I have what we call the blank, and I just go to the blank. So I've got a bunch of crap.
Well, it's just a survival strategy. You know, it's something that we learn in our culture. If you watch a lot of television and movies in our culture, you will end up not being able to feel anything because there's so much violence in our culture that it just cuts you down. And that's why I don't watch much television. I noticed when I was a little kid, I'd see the violent comics, and I was aware that I could feel, and I was also aware that they were violent, and I just didn't need it in my head. And so I just didn't watch them or read them anymore.
I don't watch any of that kind of
I know, because I can feel, I don't like looking at that stuff because I see how manipulative it is and how it's numbing people out. Now, the thing that happens when you watch violent content, it causes you to become very frightened, and it causes you to run a lot of adrenaline, and then we become addicted to it even though we don't like the feeling, and then our body demands more of it. It's a drug. And so the more you watch television and advertising is a part of it. Advertising is extremely manipulative and violent. It tells you that you're not okay the way you are. Buy this scotch, buy this house, live in this neighborhood, wear these clothes, and you'll be acceptable and lovable.
Yes.
And that's a lie.
Yeah.
But we buy it, we just buy it lock, stock, and barrel, and it just happens. It just creeps up on us. So
Right.
you're not alone. You're demonstrating how human beings are programmed. How it works, and it happened, and now it's your job to unprogram yourself, right? Yeah.
I'm working on it.
Well, you're going to stop working on it because it doesn't have to be heavy lifting. You saw a couple of people tonight working very hard, and it doesn't require a lot of heavy lifting.
Right, right.
You can feel right now. It's just that there's a little disconnect from the feeling. You will reconnect with that feeling. Okay, I assure you.
Okay.
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 And you hang out with us a little bit, it'll happen. I
right.
remember when I was 28, and I've told this story many times, but I'll tell it for you. I was an engineer. I was running a company with 2,000 employees. I remember sitting at my desk one day and thinking, my emotions are on a color TV set in the office next door, and the volume's turned down. Okay. I stayed there 3 more years, and I finished up 10 years. And then I said, I can't do this anymore. There's no one here to mentor me. I need to leave this to go someplace where someone can give me honest feedback, because I wasn't getting any. In industry, you don't, because everyone's so competitive and jealous, they won't help you succeed. Okay.
Correct.
And a lot of our cultures like that too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So tell me what's wrong with you again.
I don't feel.
Okay, now notice what you just told me.
Oh, nothing's wrong with me.
Exactly. But you convinced yourself there was, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But the more you repeat that little mantra, the more it becomes the truth. And the more you start looking from the ego's perspective of a way to fix yourself, the more disconnected you will become from your emotions, and the more broken you will become. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's a loop. It's a psychological loop.
Yes. And sometimes I can feel myself get really small.
Well, that's a choice. And again, that's part of the hypnotic suggestions that we're running on an unconscious level. We can change our size. Notice I'm going to change your size right now with you. I'm going to invite you to go with me to a bigger state so you can feel the space around you.
Okay.
And feel into it. And what are you experiencing?
I feel like my body's like a neon light buzzing.
Buzzing. So
Yeah.
notice that you got bigger, and you could feel the room around you and the space around you. You could feel space that you can't see with your inner eyes.
Yes.
Now, how did I do that?
I guess telling me that you were doing it.
Notice I know that space, and I can go there and entrain you in the same experience. Once you make the choice, I've given you a reference point. It's like singing an A. Oh, and I gave you a reference point of that note and that vibration in your body, and it's possible to go there now. And now you're going to start reprogramming yourself and saying, I know it's possible. I can do it myself.
Okay.
I had somebody invite me to go there. I went with them, and I can start doing this for myself, and I can start doing it for others. Right?
Right.
Okay. But you also, it's so important to hear all of these stories about how we're broken, and how broken we are. And we don't realize that all these unconscious programs around us, all the time people are saying this stuff to us. They're very negative. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do the other thing.
Yes.
I'm buying a new house. My niece's boyfriend, you wouldn't believe, every time I walk in the door, the negative story he has about every single property I've looked at. And finally I said, you need to take him out of the room. I don't need to hear this.
Shut the hell up.
In that world. He's welcome to live there, but I don't live in that world, and I never have.
Yeah.
So let's have you do some shaking.
Okay. And I'm lopsided. I've been practicing, but I'm lopsided.
Just stop. And what did you just say?
That I'm lopsided.
Yeah. So you hear how you go into all this unconscious dialogue? Yeah. You want to write that one down? I'm lopsided. Okay. Just to give you a reference point of how you need to create a discipline for yourself to hear all of these things that you're saying that become a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're not lopsided.
Okay.
Who have you seen tonight? You saw Heather. Heather was, at one stage, and then she moved to another and another and another. You've seen that with every person.
Right.
Exhibit a pattern from a behavior, and as we talk with them, we're able to move them out of it into another place, right?
Right.
Effectively. So you need a little support and guidance. You just need somebody to show you how to do it, which you didn't grow up with. I grew up with highly functional parents. You know, they both left school in the 6th grade. My dad was born in 1898. High work ethic. My mother in 1900. They raised 7 kids, all highly functional because they were functional. They weren't codependent. We had to take responsibility for everything. We were accountable. They never told me to do my homework. It was up to me whether I did it or not, and it was up to me the consequences, right?
Mhm.
What do you think that's like when you don't have a parent hovering over you telling you what to do? It sucks because you have to take accountability for everything.
Yeah, it can be scary
Now,
for a kid.
somehow helicopter parented, okay? Somehow. You hear, and we will perpetuate that with our own kids. We'll start helicopter parenting them. Now, what I'm inviting you to do is find the real parent in there, which doesn't tell any of these stories. It doesn't create drama. My parents would never let me tell a story like this or create a drama. They would stop it in a minute. Okay?
Okay.
So what are you hearing out of all of this? Yes, exactly. I'm so glad you're laughing because that's the best medicine, isn't
I
it?
have to laugh.
You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to come out of this fine, okay?
Okay.
You just have to hang out with us a little bit for a little while.
I can't wait to hang out with you guys.
Great. Okay. Go for it. Shake them their things. So the first thing I noticed is your energy goes way up into your head and you hold your breath and you're not breathing and you go into high anxiety and you're trying to solve your problems from the top of your head, you know, you're out of your body.
Yes.
It's very hard to solve them there because there's nobody home.
I'm always in my head.
Okay, you want to write that one down too?
It's almost like she's underwater and paddling really hard to get up.
You're so right, Brent.
You have no idea.
Yeah, and you've got your aqualung on, you know, which is kind of neat. Yeah, but it's a little tiny dog paddling, and you're a very, very big dog, but you're acting like you're a little tiny dog. And the only way you can act like a little dog is to know who you are and deny it. You hear me?
Yeah.
So you're conning us with I'm a little tiny thing and you have to take care of me. It's a survival strategy to get other people to take care of you. You're playing dumb big time.
Really?
Mhm.
Really?
I take care of everybody in my
Well,
life.
you know why you take care of them, don't you? Because
No.
you want them to take care of you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
Because-
very codependent.
Hmm.
It's a genetic survival strategy.
Okay.
One of the primary genetic survival strategies is you're the kind of person that can go in every city and you know somebody and they'll welcome you into their home.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's because you want them to take care of you, you take care of them. And it's a con job.
All right.
To me, it's like playing small and cute.
Yep.
You're like a big Doberman that's pretending to be a terrier.
Yeah, you're playing safe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't want to be threatening.
I do play it safe.
Yeah, you don't want people to be threatened by your power or strength.
Yeah. I have a suspicion that you do show up as the Doberman every once in a while, and it looks
Yeah.
see.
I do at work.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can shoot people the look, you know, and
Yeah, I know. So it's that, you know, you just don't need to do any of that stuff anymore. Be who you are.
I haven't
Own
done
the
it for a
power.
while.
Own the elegance of that Doberman, you know, and the grace of that Doberman, as opposed to acting like a little pissy dog, right?
Yes.
You do identify with the animal kingdom. It's sort of neat to watch. Yeah. Okay. Any other feedback, folks? Because what I'd like to have you do is watch this video first and then go back and do some movement. Because I'm going to feed your need to manipulate us right now. I'm feeding into that. And you're using us to keep yourself stuck. And I
Okay.
think it's not healthy for you to continue to do that. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And I'd invite you to look at how you do that at work as well with your colleagues.
Okay.
Yeah, you do it all the time. And it's not empowering you. I mean, you're not going to be able to move to a higher level of position in your company as long as you're doing this stuff, because it comes off as feeling dangerous. You come off as feeling dangerous and hostile because the Doberman's always lurking. And so they're
Okay.
not going to give you any more authority because they don't know how to manage you.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
In fact, they're whispering in the wings, you know, what do we do? How do we communicate with this behavior? Well, how do we? And they don't know because they don't know how to deal with it.
Okay.
It's amazing how forgiving people are of our behaviors, isn't it?
Yes.
They really are. It's kind of amazing. I think it's because we're in denial a lot and we have so much of our own stuff going on. We don't have time to deal with other people's stuff. So, any other feedback, folks, before we move on to the next person? And keep in mind, you know, I may not be giving you as much feedback, but that doesn't mean that we don't respect you as much. We just don't want to feed into your pattern, feed more energy.
Okay.
Because if we do, it's just more self-abuse.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being so generous. And
Thank
again,
you.
your behavior is very instructional to others on the telecast tonight. Thank you.
What not to do?
Yes. Yes. Danny, who's up next?
Okay, we're going to bring up Andrew now.
Ah, good.
And we've seen Andrew before. And of course, these sessions are what we call our primary feedback sessions. And this is to give everyone who's attending the upcoming course, which I'll talk about in a little bit, an opportunity to actually get feedback from Carl and from the group. So, Andrew, we've seen you before, but we appreciate you coming back. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great way to actually, you know, get some foundation under yourself before you move into the next level. Hello, Andrew.
Hi.
What are you hearing so far?
What am I hearing?
Yes. What are you seeing? What are you seeing with all of this diagnostic tonight?
I'm feeling all over the map.
Are you?
Yeah.
Is any of it meaningful to you?
Oh, yes.
What in particular?
Dan.
Say again?
Dan.
Dan.
Dan. What about Dan?
I like Dan.
Did you say you like him?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm having a hard time putting everything together, Carl.
I see that. I see that. What I'm seeing, Andrew, is that you have some brain chemistry imbalance that's going on. And that's from years and years of certain behaviors that disrupt our hormones. So, you know, you'll have to hang out with us for a while to get you to a place where you aren't in such a disassociated state. There's nothing wrong with you, but it will take some time to modify your brain chemistry so you're a bit more functional, okay? I understand how challenging it is for you from where you are now. I recently this week saw a woman who has a similar brain imbalance chemically like this, and I've already seen in just a week a big shift for her. But it does take time. You have to give yourself about 90 days to start moving through this, Andrew, okay? How long has this been going on for you, this bit of a challenge you're having?
I don't know.
Okay, I understand. Did you ever do any drugs, or have you taken any psychoactive drugs at all?
Yes.
What have you experienced? What drugs have you taken?
LSD.
Okay. Are you aware how much it modified your brain chemistry?
No.
Well, it's quite disrupted, and it's probably from the LSD. That's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just that we're going to need to spend some time with you to get you refocused, okay? Because you kind of had an experience that that wasn't one of the most beneficial. Some people have a very integrative experience, and it looks like you, because you didn't have the foundation you needed spiritually when you went into that drug, it kind of fractured your psyche a little bit. Okay. And that can be repaired. Okay. All right. It just takes a little time. So you want to do some shaking for us?
Love to.
Let's have you do that.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to stop you for a second. Do you want to give some feedback, Brent, or someone? I heard somebody saying something in there.
I was seeing a performance.
I was too, but before he started, Brent, I wondered if anyone sensed the big fuck you to everybody that was going on.
Yeah, I actually saw, even when he started talking, there was a blame on you, Carl.
Yes.
And kind of like you fucked me up. And yeah, it's kind of coming through again.
Yeah.
Sorry for cursing.
No, that's what's going on, and it's important to see it because, you know, it's tough not to make other people responsible for your suffering. What you're doing is you're putting myself in the same place that you put your parents in, and so I'm becoming your father or your mother, and you're projecting the same relationship you had with them, that on that authority figure relationship. It's the same relationship we have with God. That's what makes it hard to move forward. We can't experience our own God self when we're trying to annihilate it at the same time. So it's a bit of a challenge.
You know, that's pretty interesting. I was doing some testing on myself once, and there was a whole lot coming up about things like God doesn't want me to be happy.
Yeah. Andrew, I think that it's best if we work in a private session for a while, because I think it's going to be way more beneficial for you. And then when you come back on for your diagnostic, and I know we have a session scheduled, when you come back on for your diagnostic, people are going to see a big shift. But I need to work with you energetically for a period of time to help get your psyche a little bit more integrated. Okay. And I really want to keep you in a place where this doesn't feed the fracturing, what we're doing here, if that makes sense.
Very well.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of, when you start speaking, I kind of started to think, are you drunk? Are you on drugs? And also, I started to get concerned, like if you're gonna, you know, fall and hurt yourself. And it's like, if you do get to a point where, you know, you think you might hurt yourself, please give a call to Carl or reach out for help. Okay.
Oh Lord, no, I feel I never really considered.
Oh, good.
I don't like pain. Pain
Okay,
hurts.
good.
Yeah. What are you doing for a living right now, Andrew?
Nothing really.
I wondered, because it would be very hard for you to take care of yourself when this behavior is going on. So let's see if we can take some time and get your brain chemistry straightened out, okay? Because otherwise we're not going to really be able to help you here quickly. Yeah, the way I'd like to, okay? And do we have someone else to work with tonight? And thank you so much, Andrew. We'll chat soon.
Yeah, we have our ghost guest, Geeta's back to try one more time to see. She has a brand new spanking connection, and
now who could that be? A ghost connection?
Geeta.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
Hello.
She promised it was going to be better, and
Hello,
she
Geeta.
tested it. So we're going to hopefully see that it'll work.
Okay. So Geeta, I would like you to, have you been watching?
Yes. Yeah.
So,
Very.
pretty instructive evening, don't you think?
Yes, it is.
What are you seeing here? Give us an evaluation of the process this evening. You're very good at doing that.
Well, I joined in a little bit late, but I shared the experience with the lady. I didn't get her name. And it was very interesting to see the way she did the movement exercise, and also the feedback she was given. And again, as in the other sessions, there's always something that we can, or that I can take away from that experience.
What are you
And-
taking away? Share that with others. It's very helpful if you can.
But if I could have the name of the lady, that would be more helpful than.
Was it Mary that had the blue dress on?
Yeah, and the white door behind.
Yes. Yeah, I thought that's who it was.
Yeah, Mary.
Yeah.
It was very interesting because the relationship, or the, how shall I put it, the comparison to the animal, and the fact that she was hiding away her power and being nice to people and people around her. That resonates with me as well to some extent.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I had a feeling it would that there'd be a correlation. Yeah. How great. How great. So, what's been going on for you? I mean, how have you been integrating the feedback over the week?
Well, there are some things that are positive. Is the fact that I am able to go back to that place of serenity within me, and do things from that level or that area of power. But also I have been experiencing some challenges coming from my financial situation, and that's always, I wouldn't say frightening, but giving me some level of anxiety.
Well, the thing to notice is you're letting something give you anxiety. So the question we ask ourselves when that's happening is why you want to experience anxiety. You see, and you've hooked it to financial. It could be hooked to anything. And so if you can disconnect that anxiety from the financial situation will change immediately.
Oh, I'd love to.
Well, it will. I've seen it happen over and over and over. My question is, and you always have to ask yourself, what's the payoff for being, in anxiety? Are you using that to motivate yourself to make more money? If you are, that's not the best way to do it. You want to be using a sense of having fun in what you do, and then you'll make a lot of money. That's the way it works. It's hard to get when it hasn't happened yet on a consistent basis that's the way it works. But I've seen it happen over and over and over. People start doing what they love, and then all of a sudden they're very successful and they make a lot of money, which is the way it's supposed to work.
Well, it certainly is, but the thing is that with me personally over the
I'm going to
last...
stop you for a second.
Sure.
I just noticed you didn't listen to anything I said. And I want everybody else to notice that too, because that's how we disassociate and why nothing changes, because what we need to hear, we don't listen to.
Yeah, okay.
It was a yes, but. Meaning, yeah, that's great, but it's what we do when we're waiting to talk rather than listening. That's one of my favorite old tricks.
Yeah. And that's one of the things you do. You're so certain of the way things operate that you're not listening to the environment. You're deflecting money when you do that. Pushing it away.
What do you mean deflecting money?
You're pushing money away when you don't listen. Because the same place that you didn't listen to when I was speaking is the same place you aren't listening to internally. And that's where the money comes from. And the anxiety is going to keep your moneymaker busy because you're focusing on anxiety instead of your vision. Your vision becomes anxiety, and more anxiety and more anxiety. And once you notice you're doing that, you stop it, and it frees all of that energy that's tied up in anxiety into creating your vision. It brings it to you, and it brings you to it. It's a quantum field effect. But just hear what I'm saying. Anxiety is a block to creating your vision in any context, way, shape, or form. Your vision becomes more anxiety, whatever shape, which is I have less money, more anxiety, less money, more anxiety, less money, more anxiety. You better get going, you better get going, you better get going. It's a game. And it's a violent game. It's a vicious game.
Okay, I hear that, but how do I get away from that?
You didn't hear it.
Didn't hear.
No. It's extremely simple.
Yeah.
Our brain is a computer.
Mm-hmm.
And anxiety is a tape that you put in and run. And it takes up all the processing time. And you can't run anything else. It's extremely addictive and extremely seductive. And there's a point at which you can see that you're going to step into this anxiety game and start running it. And the moment that you see that you're going to step into it, all you have to do is back away from it. Take one step back, look at it, and not go there. And things get really easy, and that's extremely disorienting to the ego. But you're the only one that can step away from it. It's like step away from the drug.
Okay.
And then you get to live in reality instead of a fantasy world filled with drugs. You heard everything I said.
Mm.
Yeah, you see the difference? Other people can see it too. I'm sorry, Gita, but you are lovable. Did you hear me?
What do you mean by that?
The story, the anxiety is based on this story, this lie that you're telling yourself that you're not lovable and you're not good enough. And you'll have to give it up. I mean, and then everything you desire will come to you. It's funny. I have one sister-in-law. Whatever I give her, and I've ever given her over the years, I love being generous with my family. She's always taken it in and said, thank you. My niece, who I'm close to, have been since she was born when I was 9 years old. I give her things, and she's, oh, don't do that. You can't do that. Oh, don't do it. You can't do it. And I'm at a point where there's not much I can do. I see that she wants to stay in a small place and do it the hard way and do it her own way and do it at her own rate. And that's fine. But I also know that she isn't very generous with herself, right?
Mm.
And she feels undeserving on some level. And I've had this conversation with her, and she learned it from her mother, my sister. But I can't change it. And I can't really push it in her face too much. It's none of my business. But I just noticed that that's what's going on. And that's what I noticed going on with you. You won't let people support you. You won't let them love you. And in order to move forward, you're going to have to allow people to do things for you.
Allow people to do things for me.
Yes.
I have been educated to do it the other way around. I mean,
I know. You're hyper responsible, just like me. I can do everything, and I'm really good at it. And guess what? It does not allow an opening for anybody else to love us when we're like that. There's no way to support us. And if you can't be supported, there's no way to love you. There's no relationship basis.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Any feedback, guys, ladies and gentlemen? We didn't even have you shake your hands. You want to do that again?
Yeah, why not?
Picking on you right out of the gate.
Sorry?
I said we started picking on you right out of the gate.
I mean, I think
mythology, picking at your mythology.
it's a classic case of living backwards, which we're all trained to do. We think that we have to figure it out and make the right action to force the environment or circumstances to be some way to make us feel good. When that's backwards, it's just the opposite. You just choose how you want to feel and move into there.
Yes.
And the universe will support it step by step in ways you never could expect or foresee.
Yeah.
That will bring you usually those mid-level manipulations you thought were required. So for example, if you think you need to make $1 million to feel good about yourself, that's running on a treadmill. You decide to feel good about yourself right now, no BS, no excuses. I wouldn't be surprised if some money shows up.
Yeah, that's the way it works.
So it's not your fault. You were trained to live backwards, just like me and everyone else in this freaking world.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all reverse wired. Yeah.
But when I start thinking or feeling that way, there's always that, fear and anxiety that if I let go of the situation and of the control thing, things will happen.
Right, because you're still at the effect of the egoic paradigm of our world, which is you got to figure it out and make the right thing happen to get the good result.
And it doesn't have to work that way.
Right, that's an illusion. There is cause and effect, but the means of delivery is not the same as the source. And we get confused. We can't see past that. We think that our job or our investments or our family is the source of our money. It's not. Those are delivery vehicles. The source is a choice made on the inside. But if you didn't know that, most people spend their whole lives trapped in this. And there's no shame in there, right? It's like saying for me, Brent, you're such an idiot because you speak English. It's like, well, that's what I was taught by my parents and my school and my society, right?
Yeah.
You really can't blame me for that, right? It's just what it is. So living backwards, there's no shame or guilt. Don't feel bad about it. That's just all you were taught. You had no other option.
Yeah.
But here's your chance to, to see a little bit bigger piece of the picture.
Yeah.
You can choose to be free of the anxiety and trust right now. And most of the time that results in the money showing up. And many of us do have this, what Carl described it as an addiction to adrenaline. We love the stress and the fear. We get off on it. We live in this hyperadrenalized state that eventually wears you down and your hormones get thrown out of whack and your brain chemistry goes down the toilet. And you wonder, what's wrong with me? Why isn't life working? Well, you've just been hitting the adrenaline pump too hard. And fortunately, it's all by design. It'll give you the impetus to get off that treadmill, to surrender and trust and just be who you are, where you're at, doing what you're doing. And you might be amazed at some of the magic that happens. And one thing that I found true is this work that Carl is showing us is so powerful that even if you're stuck weighing your head, it will still transform you. It just may slow down a tiny bit.
Yeah.
So no worries.
Exactly.
The head can't stop it. It can just slow it down a little bit.
Yeah. What are you hearing, Gita, tonight? It's nice to see you taking all of this in.
What I'm hearing is actually that I have to be more in my heart, in my body, in my feelings than in my head and controlling things. But no, there is no but. Okay.
Yeah. You like those butts, huh?
No.
Yeah, it may serve you well to get a little bit unreasonable in life.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because we want everything to happen for a reason. We want a reason to feel good, a reason to be loved, a reason to be joyful. Nah, that's a load of crap. You don't need a reason for any of that.
We were born joyful and free. And the fascinating thing about life, that's our natural state. And if things aren't working, it's because you decided to start suffering. And happiness and joy require no practice. But suffering requires a lot of heavy lifting. It requires a lot of brain work.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Any more feedback for Gita tonight? Do you want to shake your hands a bit, or do you think you've had enough?
Sorry?
Would you like to shake your hands, or have you had enough? I think you've probably had enough.
No, I can do some head shaking. That's okay.
I think we are running short on time a bit. So.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Is,
But I also appreciate, Gita, it's always great having you on because you do listen. We do see you start to feel. We do see the transformation occur.
Yeah.
And very soon, you know, when you stop this anxiety, the financial picture will change dramatically. I've seen it happen over and over and over again. It's unfortunate that we don't have more of a direct experience because sometimes that helps. But I don't think it's not too far away for you. You know, it's going to happen shortly.
Okay.
You'll be willing to stop the high anxiety.
Yeah, because it's more pain than anything. And
Well, let
when
me tell you one other piece that's very important. Sometimes we forget this.
sure.
The reason you're doing it is because your parents did it. And if you don't do it, you're going to be unloving to your parents.
Yeah, and loving, and there's also some sort of, you know, being loyal to their lineage. That's
Exactly.
that may sound that.
No, it's exactly what happened. So what you're going to have to do in order to experience self-love and the movement, you will have to betray that relationship with your parents.
Hmm.
And it's the thing they always wanted the most for you, but they didn't know how to actualize it for you.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you do it, they're going to get it because there is no time and space. And it'll set them free. You're still bound to them karmically. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
This is a way for you to cut them loose and to cut yourself loose from the karmic wheel as well. Great.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure seeing you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go back to Danny.
Yes. So.
Anyone else have any feedback tonight? I don't know how we're doing on time. We're near the end of getting close, I guess, to the end of our session.
Well, one piece of feedback I'd like to give is how there wasn't a lot of movement tonight because there was just a lot of people receiving feedback directly without the movement, especially with Gita at the end. And even without the movement, we're in a place where the feedback we're being given can be just as impactful, just through our words and through where we are in our bodies.
Well, Danny, you may not realize that I am sensing the field effect of each person. So even without the hands moving, I'm feeling the movement of that field around them. I'm feeling the effect of that field. So it's a very dynamic readout that I get. The nice thing about the movement is it gives us an opportunity when we're working with someone who we haven't worked with before. It gives us an opportunity to get the rational mind engaged, and then you can sort of penetrate all of those myths and start to facilitate some movement.
And for one other thing, since we do have another master healer here and he's given us incredible feedback, Brent, I'm going to pop you on. I just want you to give a quick introduction to Awakening Dynamics because I really do appreciate you being here.
So for those that aren't already familiar with my work, I was the engineer who became a healer kind of by accident, and basically spent 10 years of my life becoming a master of metaphysics, learning to manipulate using the ego with mind power and manifestation. And then I met Carl, and his work didn't make any sense to me. And I knew there was something there, and really it took quite a while for his teachings to get through this very dense and thick skull. But years later it did, and I experienced my own awakening and finally clicked in what he was saying all the time. I was going, oh my gosh, it's real, it's true. And so I created Awakening Dynamics specifically because I found there was no system out there that had a very strong synthesis and marriage of both metaphysical processes of mind power and energy healing and manifestation with the real genuine spirituality. And so that was kind of my founding vision, was to take these teachings of real spirituality that will truly set you free when you understand that there's nobody here, that the universe happens automatically, that there's nothing to take personally because there's no persons. There's incredible freedom, lack of attachment. It's been described as the foot in the door to enlightenment. It is the beginning of the end of suffering. And I wanted to pair that with the practical aspect of the metaphysics, of learning to clear the subconscious, of learning to perform healings, of manifesting, of bringing things into your life. And so much of that I learned from Carl, plus other teachers. I tried to, I certainly didn't, I was not myself a world-class intuitive talent. I was not born with all this. It took me many, many years of study and practice. So this wasn't a natural gift for me. The gift I had was the ability to learn from the masters like Carl and reverse engineer and understand exactly what it is that was going on, and then articulate it in a way that regular people can understand.
May I interrupt for a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to say that Brent's ability to reverse engineer and document in a scientific manner what we're doing is absolutely profound. It's the best I've seen in my lifetime. And it's brought so much value to the work I do, because I'm just busy doing it. You know, I didn't want to take the time to sit down and document it, reverse engineer it. It's such a gift to have someone like Brent document what we're doing in a way that's so useful from a scientific perspective, and create a system that really has a foundation in spirit and in the soul and in the body, and to be able to take it out into the world in a very effective way. So I think I know what you're going to see in the next few years come out of the work that we're doing together is absolutely revolutionary. So it's a great marriage at this point. So go ahead. I interrupted you, Brent.
No, and I am over the moon thrilled that Carl's come out of retirement to do this work again, because I know how powerful it is. And it's kind of my mission that I want to get this out in front of people as soon as possible so they can benefit from it.
Yes.
Because there are so many teachers in the new age self-improvement world that are well-intentioned. Some have good hearts, but they either just don't have the content or they're using obsolete technology. And so this really is, I was told recently by Galexis, a channel I respect a lot, she said, Brent, you know, you got to get this out to the world, because this is a whole generation ahead of what anyone else is doing. And so that's my mission, to create a simple, understandable system that engages the rational mind and makes it your ally, instead of the traditional teacher that says, oh, stop the mind, it's evil, it's bad. No, the mind is wonderful.
Yeah.
We just need to make it an ally and bring it on our side. And your mind will be one of your greatest supporters and assets in the spiritual journey.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's, you know, that's what I'm all about.
Thank you, Brent.
Well, that's what someone's all about.
Yeah, that's what no one's all about, right?
Yeah, that's what no one's all about.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to just quickly do a screen share here of speaking of mind and body. Now we're going to talk a little bit about Carl's movement feedback weekend.
Oh, what does Brent have coming up next, by the way?
Sure.
We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, so what Brent has, oh boy, that did not do what I thought it would do. Brent has the his Awakening Dynamics Mastermind. Awakening Mastermind is coming in August. There's 6 weeks there. And
great foundational work, everybody, for everyone. It's a really good place to start if you're just beginning. Or if you're going intermediate level, it's a great place to go.
And in addition to that, Brent has his level 1 class coming up in September. Brent has an incredible VIP club where he has, every month he comes out with a great series on awakening and various perspectives, with everything from benevolence to confidence and a whole slew of wonderful videos. So I'll make sure everyone gets the $1 VIP trial, so you can check out Brent's work there as well. And he has some great 30 Days to Awakening program, Formula for Wealth, and a lot of, as Carl mentioned, you know, Brent has put a lot of thought, research, and energy into creating these great programs that he's making available.
Thank you, Danny.
Yes. So now I'm going to see about what happens when I go to share my screen, Carl, is it jumps off screen. So those of you who are in the session, you won't see what I'm sharing with the class. However, those who are viewing from the class itself are going to see my slides. So the upcoming movement feedback weekend is this coming June in a week and a half, and the participants in the class are actually getting their primary feedback. They're all signed up for the class, and there's also a class weekend in July, and it's a 2-day weekend class where Carl works with all students, and some select online students from these primary feedback sessions will also be brought in. The class runs from 9:15 to 6:15 here in Los Angeles and also online. We're doing it here at a great place Brent discovered at the Marriott, where we stream video, and it's very comfortable over in Century City. And, you know, Carl's here to really open your eyes and take your own lifelong patterns, as you've seen tonight, and transform them. Change things in your life, take what's holding you back, do what you love, and live your life. And these coming dates are June 27th and 28th, as I mentioned, in a week and a half, and then July 25th and 26th in Ithaca, New York. Both classes are live and online, and I encourage you, if you're anywhere on the East Coast or anywhere in Europe, get on a plane and fly to Ithaca, because, Carl, Ithaca's beautiful, isn't it?
It's gorgeous. Yes. Yes.
And so the opportunity we have today is that Carl's been generous enough to not only come out of retirement, do these classes, but to discount the classes considerably. And so we have a 50% discount off all the classes, which are normally $9.97 and $11.97 for online and in person, respectively. And you can check them out at movementfeedback.com. And that's /classes. And I will say, for everyone that does join us this weekend, you will also get a copy of, who signs up before this weekend by Saturday, that is, you will get a copy of the book Carl's featured in with, this is the Jack Canfield book, yeah, Carl? Called Success Secrets?
Yes. The Success Secret, and it was co-authored with Jack Canfield and others, yes.
Yeah, and it features a whole chapter with Carl Wolf. It's a wonderful book, and we'll get it. Will we be able to have it autographed as well, Carl?
Of course.
All right, absolutely. Wonderful. So that's it. The movementfeedback.com/classes, where you can get on board there. I'll also follow up. If I encourage you to go to awakeningdynamics.com for Brent, and you can actually tune into one of his latest courses, which is a live session on manifestation and the law of attraction. So check that out as well. So in closing, I'd like to thank everyone for being here today. It's always a pleasure to have Carl and Brent, and also Vitaly, Jamie, who had to leave a little bit early, who were also here giving feedback. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank everyone who was receiving feedback as well, because we're all gaining from the benefit of the feedback that you're getting. So, Carl, any last words before we check out?
Thank you, everyone, and let us know how you're doing. If you have any questions, feel free to send us a little email and touch in with us, and it'd be great to hear from you. And take care. Have a great weekend, everyone.
And as a reminder,
thank you.
Speaking of
bye-bye.
We're having another class this Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific, a live movement class, and you'll. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, Brent, do you want to do a little connection? Is Brent still there, or did he go?